This day and time. What happened today, years ago?
Welcome to the Deep Dive. So forget scrolling through endless news feeds this time. We're hitting pause and plunging into just 1 week in history, May 26th to June 1st.
Yeah, it's like unlocking a hidden layer of the past. You find these seemingly random events that actually connect in surprising ways.
Exactly. And within just these 7 days, across different centuries, different continents, we find these incredible pockets of human experience.
Moments of real courage, sparks of ingenuity, and, well, decisions that just echoed through time.
Our mission, then, to be your guides through this historical landscape. We're picking out the most fascinating and, well, impactful stories.
Okay, so where do we start?
Right, let's unpack this, starting way back. May 26th, the year 451, the Battle of Avarayr.
Ah, yes. That's in the rugged highlands of Armenia.
Right, pitting Armenian forces against the Sasanian Empire that's ancient Persia.
And what's really key here, I think, is the why, the underlying conflict. Well, the Sasanian Empire, their state religion was Zoroastrianism, right? And they were trying to impose it on the Christian Armenians.
So not just about land or politics.
No, not at all. It was fundamentally a battle for cultural and religious survival.
And leading the Armenian resistance was Vardan Mamikonian. Now, the thing is, the Armenian forces were, well, heavily outnumbered.
Yeah, significantly. And they were ultimately defeated on the battlefield.
Which sounds like, the end of the story. A straightforward loss.
But, and this is the crucial part, the sheer fierceness, the determination of that resistance, even though they lost the battle, it eventually persuaded the Sasanian Empire to back off on the forced conversion, to let them keep practicing Christianity.
Wow. So they lost the battle, technically.
But secured their religious freedom through their unwavering commitment. It's fascinating.
It really is. It's such a powerful example, isn't it? How cultural religious identity can kind of win out, even without a military victory.
Absolutely. And it became this cornerstone of Armenian identity for centuries. It inspired other Christian communities, too.
Makes you think, doesn't it, about the long-term impact of what might look like lost causes at the time.
It does. And it raises questions about power. Did the Sasanians just decide the cost of constant fighting wasn't worth it?
Or maybe the Armenian spirit was just too resilient to crush completely.
Could be. It's complex.
Okay, let's jump forward quite a few centuries. Still May 26th, but now it's 946 in England.
Right, the very unexpected death of King Edmund I.
And he was young, only 25.
Yeah, and the way it happened is pretty remarkable. He was at a feast in Tuckle Church.
Okay.
And he apparently tried to step in and apprehend a known thief, a guy named Leofa.
The king himself.
Seems so. And in the struggle, well, the king was fatally stabbed.
That's just jarring. The King of England, immense power, authority, stopping a petty crime. It sounds almost mundane in a shocking way.
It really highlights the vulnerability, doesn't it? Even for someone at the absolute top, status doesn't guarantee safety.
No kidding. The stark reminder, power isn't always protection.
And the impact. It must have shaken the kingdom.
Oh, absolutely. Power then passed to his brother, Edred.
Yeah.
And you have to figure, such a sudden change.
It definitely would have altered the course of things for the Anglo-Saxon monarchy. Maybe shifted priorities, delayed plans.
Yeah, one of those moments where a seemingly small, almost random event has these huge ripple effects through history.
Definitely. Okay, so let's jump ahead again. May 26th, but now 1923. Totally different vibe.
Where are we now?
The French countryside. The very first 24 hours of Le Mans race.
Le Mans. Okay, even if you're not a big car person, you've heard of Le Mans. It's legendary.
It is now, yeah. But imagine that first race, organized by the Automobile Club de l'Ouest.
And it wasn't just about speed, was it? That wasn't the main point initially.
Not really, no. It was conceived as this, grueling test of endurance.
Right.
Pushing the cars, which were still pretty new technology.
Okay.
And the drivers, obviously, to their absolute limits for a full 24 hours. Reliability was just as important, maybe more so.
Could these machines even survive that? Could the drivers stay focused?
Exactly. It was about stamina, resilience, both human and mechanical.
It really captures that pioneering spirit, early days of the automobile. And they're just pushing the boundaries of what these things and the people driving them could actually do.
And it absolutely laid the foundation for the huge, prestigious event it is today.
What kind of challenges would those first drivers have faced? I mean...
Oh, imagine unreliable engines, brakes that were probably questionable.
Basic safety, I guess.
Pretty much non-existent by today's standards. And just the physical toll of driving for 24 hours, often on roads that weren't purpose-built tracks.
It must have spurred so much innovation.
Absolutely. In car tech, but also just understanding human endurance. It was more than a race. It was like a giant experiment.
Okay, sticking with May 26 for one more stop. We cross the Atlantic, 1864. Montana officially becomes a U.S. territory.
Right, a key moment in that whole story of westward expansion in the United States.
What was driving it?
Well, a big part was the lure of gold discoveries. More and more settlers were heading into the region. And that created a need for, formal government, some kind of organization. So making it a territory was a big step.
A step in developing the American West, definitely. But we have to remember the other side of that coin.
Absolutely crucial. This rapid growth, this settlement, it inevitably led to more conflict.
Right. Conflict and displacement for the Native American tribes who'd lived there for generations.
It's a vital point. Establishing the territory paved the way for towns, railroads, shaped Montana's identity.
Yeah.
But it also represents a period of profound upheaval and loss for the indigenous people. You have to look at both sides.
Definitely makes you think about the different perspectives on expansion, the real human costs involved.
For sure.
Okay, let's shift gears now. Moving to a more recent date, June 1st, 2012. The United Nations established the Global Day of Parents. Feels like a bit of a change of pace, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. A welcome one, maybe, after battles and territorial gains.
What's the significance here?
I think it's that global recognition,
Yeah.
acknowledging the absolutely fundamental role parents play.
In kids' well-being, obviously, but also
in just developing societies everywhere. It's a day set aside to honor their commitment, their love, the sacrifices they make.
You mentioned earlier this idea of quiet, everyday heroism. That kind of fits, doesn't it?
I think so. It's in those countless small acts of care, guidance. That's how parents shape future generations.
And it often coincides with International Children's Day in many countries.
Right, which really underscores that connection, that vital bond between parent and child.
And maybe our collective responsibility globally to support families and kids.
Exactly. It highlights that shared duty.
Okay, one more for this week, also June 1st, but stepping back a bit to 1997.
What happened then?
World Milk Day was launched by the Food and Agriculture Organization, the FAO.
World Milk Day. Okay, that seems quite specific.
It might seem that way at first glance, but when you start to unpack it,
There's more to it.
yeah, think about the sheer global impact of milk. It's a dietary staple for, well, huge numbers of people across so many cultures.
True. And economically.
Oh, it's a massive driver. Supports the livelihoods of millions of people involved in producing it.
From small family farms all the way up to big industrial dairies, I suppose.
Exactly. So it connects nutrition, the economy.
And I guess environmental issues come into play too.
Oh, sure. It prompts discussions about sustainable farming, the environmental footprint of dairy. It's all interconnected.
So World Milk Day isn't just about, having a glass of milk.
Right. It encourages us to think bigger about global health, economic stability, environmental responsibility, all linked to this one product.
That's actually quite a broad scope.
It really is. So looking back at this 1 week, May 26th to June 1st. Wow.
Yeah, quite a range. From a battle for faith in ancient Armenia,
To a king's death in Anglo-Saxon England, the birth of Le Mans.
the expansion into Montana, and then these global days recognizing parents and, milk.
We've touched on so many themes. Resilience, power, innovation, expansion.
And also those fundamental things like family, global well-being, nutrition.
And when you think about it, you, the listener, you're connected to all this, aren't you? Maybe indirectly.
Yeah, these moments from the past, even if they seem scattered, they offer these insights into the human story that still resonate.
Courage to stand up for beliefs.
The fragility of power.
This relentless drive for progress.
And that universal need for care, for connection.
It really does make you wonder, doesn't it? How these echoes from the past are still playing out around us now.
And what other connections might you find if you just picked a random week or a date that means something to you and did your own deep dive?
That's a great thought to leave people with. Definitely something to explore.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell for more history daily.